All right, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, and welcome back to our live chat. We have a lot of people here with us this time around. We're just going to go ahead and introduce ourselves and get started on talking. So, I'm Jade. I am one of the narrators on the site, and I will pass it along to Jacob.
Hey guys, I'm Tribute. I am Versifier and Archmage of Idalos.
Just let him think.
Somebody else.
Me. I'm Shards and Versifier, and yeah, that's it for me.
He makes all the critters.
I am Kingdom, and I've just become one of the narrators.
And I am Basilisk, and I am the narrator for Central, for Eastern Idalos, and I sort of oversee Central. And yes, I've got the smallest thing down at the bottom. It's weird. Whatever. Okay, let's go.
All right. Well, we did take a period of time to kind of attend to some responsibilities in real life. So a lot of us were inactive for a little while, but we have pulled that around. And in the past month and a half to 2 months, we've been doing a lot of developing. So one of the first people that we're going to have speak is Shards. And he's going to talk a little bit about his city and some of the things that he's developed.
All right.
So,
So I will be talking about triart in Oculus, and I took that from Doyen, and we worked together on that for a while, and I think she got really busy and she had to, I think,
She had
focus
to
on
go,
her
yeah.
studies. Yeah. So I took that on and I developed the city, starting off with her, and then I just took it on myself. And with Triart, it's, as you know, the city of the Elune, and tried when he created the Elune, he made them so that they could biologically adapt to freezing conditions. And as you know, with Elune, if they go into hot areas, they potentially can die. So when Triad created the Elune, they naturally moved to the coldest part of Oculus, and that is the southern part of Oculus, where there's just these large mountains, glaciers, and I mean, the Elune find the freezing environment is really comfortable. So when the Elune, they migrated south to this area, they started creating a settlement, and this later became known as Triart. And they initially started creating sort of statues, along with their settlement statues, to sort of honor Triad. But I think Triad felt that the Elune were not as ruthless as some of the other races, and he sort of encouraged them to develop a city in a more sort of a defensive city to protect themselves from potential invasions. So the next thing I'd talk about is what happened when Triad's heart was sort of plunged into the depths of Oculus, and how did that affect the development of the city? So, as you know, the story, Audrey with Faldrin betrayed Triad, even though he adored her. She cast his heart deep into Oculus and basically separated his heart from Triad's body, and he was basically put into sort of like a coma. And the Elune, they have a very interesting, as Doyen, she had mentioned earlier in the last vlog, the Elune have a very interesting way of dealing with death, and they don't really know how to take it. And with Triad going into this coma, they, rather than grieve, they decided to put all their resources into digging to find his heart. It's just this this mass effort to do this. And so one sort of main part of the city is this enormous kind of hole in the ground where they're just digging deeper and deeper just to try and find it. And on the other side of the city is the tomb where Tried, lays in this sort of coma state. So I'll just keep going.
Yeah, go for it.
You guys are
You're
so
good,
silent.
Yeah.
Um,
So one of the things
Yeah.
I just
Okay,
have
I've
to
gotta shut
comment,
this
like
off. My freaking
one of the
back
things
hurts.
that I really love about the Immortals and their stories is this kind of interaction between Audrey and Tried. Tried. Yeah, I still
Yeah, is
really
it
don't
tried
know
or
how to
treat? I
pronounce
always thought it was
Yeah.
treat.
Tried,
Yeah, I
think.
thought it was Tried too. I'm not really sure. We have to
Panic.
go over that one day.
Up to
I
Eric.
But
Tried.
I think Dementia
It's
called it
tried.
Tried way back in
He's like,
that
"It's tried,
one
guys."
blog we had
Yeah,
months ago
tried.
when we tried to pronounce every damn thing.
But so one of my favorite things, when it comes to the interactions between the Immortals is between Audrey and Tried, and it's the fact that you take this woman who is just so evil, and this guy who is actually a really good, decent, immortal. He really appreciates the Elune, and she ends up just gouging his heart out with her hand, basically tossing it back to the Elune, saying, if you want him alive again, you're gonna have to dig for it. But if you can't find the right one, well then
Sucks
you're
to be you.
screwed. Yeah.
Wait, the right
so-
one? Is there
Yeah,
like
there's two chests
several
down
different
there.
parts buried under like Tried Heart?
Two
Mhm.
chests, isn't it?
Yes. There.
One
Yep.
with the
And
heart and the other without.
yeah.
Correct.
And yep.
Oh, that's
in the
cool.
write up, there's when she went back to Triedheart. She returned his heart in a chest, and she returned a false heart in another identical chest. So that's something
Correct.
that the Elune have to face too, is if that's the right chest or not.
And if they get the wrong chest, then the real
Is there
heart
anything
is
in
lost
particular
to
that
darkness
happens if they
forever,
shove
isn't it?
right heart
Correct.
back, the wrong
Yeah,
heart back
so-
to them?
Right.
That sounds like the kind of thing it's gonna be like up to the players. They're eventually gonna find both chests and be like, which one do you want to pick?
So maybe. I mean, it all depends on how Eric wants to run that.
That's true.
He's
That's
got
up to you,
free
dude.
reign.
Tune
So-
in.
But
I have no idea.
another
no idea.
thing I was kind of hoping that you
thought
could
about it,
go over,
Chelsea.
Eric,
Yep.
is the
Yeah, sorry.
military system for
Sure.
Triedheart. I really love the designs that you made. I guess that's the
Oh, you saw
symbols for
that.
the ranks. I did. It looks absolutely fantastic. I'm looking at it now.
cool.
So if you could go over that for me, I'd love it.
Okay, so with the military, they're not super strong. They're very defensive, and I mean the military uses the natural resources of Oculus to help defend Triart. And I mean Oculus is extremely cold. It's difficult for foreign invaders to survive in that environment, and so basically I'll probably run through the ranking structure of the military. I've sort of based it on the structure of a snowflake, and these sort of create the emblems that all of the different ranks wear. I've made it like an image of all of that, which you can see in the forum. So it starts off with a tri, which is just 3 soldiers, and basically you look after your comrade in arms on your left and your comrade in arms on your right, and everyone looks after each other. And in a war situation, that's beneficial. The next one is so the tri is a triangle. Then there's a star. So 2 triangles creates sort of like a star, and that is made up of 4 tris, 12 units. Then it keeps on going. Cluster, 4 stars, 48 units. Myriad, 4 clusters, 192 units. And Infinitude is led by the Infinian, who's the sort of leader of the military, 4 myriads, and it can be more. Just at the moment, I've got 768 units, and the current so each sort of rank has a leader or several leaders. So a star with 4 tries has astarion, cluster, clusterion, myriad, myrion, and infinitude, infinion. So current infinion is NPC called La Sintar, a very militaristic man, and is he doesn't like cowardice, and he'll punish his own people for doing so. His personality is such because they really need to defend their city to the last man, sort of thing. So you need someone like that. And but unfortunately, the other officers kind of are not sort of happy with the way he runs things. So anyway, so the military, so that's the rankings, but then everyone in the military has different sort of jobs. So you have 4 types of Elune troops. So you have your frozen blades. These guys are just they just wield swords and stuff, and they use their ice ability to create weapons, and they can create any kind of weapon they really want. Sublimators, they're mages. They cast like icy beams and projectiles to freeze their opponents. It's like Sub-Zero.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, another thing that I was kind of curious about too,
Yep.
listening to the military structure. So, who would you possibly consider? Is there any city in particular that Triart is interested in aligning with, or is already aligned to? And how would you view any attacks on the city? Like, do you know of any cities that could possibly be open to attacking Triart in the near future at all?
I can easily answer the first question. It'd be Viden would be Triart's ally. It's at the moment we've got the 2 as a trading sort of agreement, but I do see that they could become more closely aligned. With your second question, I'm not at this stage. I haven't really assessed the other races' abilities or desire to mount an attack on the Loon, because I just wonder what the strategic purpose would be to invade a very frozen wasteland.
That's true.
Although maybe I may think of some reason possibly to do with Tried. And the dig site and all that sort of thing that's going on, possibly. Or maybe at this stage, not yet, but watch this space.
All right, awesome. Okay,
Hold
well,
on. One quick thing. For people that might have reason to attack Oculus, it wouldn't be a great political reason, but I was talking with Mal about it, about places that Athar might attack months ago, and he said that they might look south towards Oculus because they need bodies when they eventually go to war with the Empire.
okay.
So
Alrighty, well,
All right.
keep an
that
eye on them. Frickin' chickens are a pain in the ass.
yep, that is.
Oh, so should I just maybe I'll just complete the rest of the
Yes.
the forces if possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just described the frozen blades, the Sub-Zero guys, and I've got like these they're called ice mechanates, I think they're called. They're anti-siege because this is purely defensive. These guys, icicle archers, they just shoot ice at people with bows.
Seems
So
like
then
the
we got the
Uh-huh.
hey.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Then we got the special forces. So I've got a kind of. This is very important for their defense. There is the special forces called Black Ice, and they are guerrilla sort of troops, and this is like their only form of attacking back at invaders. And then you got these guys called tried sappers. They just excavate these tunnels. So Oculus is like Swiss cheese. There's tunnels everywhere, and the Black Ice and these sappers, they just going back and forth, attacking, the enemy from the flanks or whatever. And then finally got the saboteurs who they create these traps and glaciers and they create avalanches.
Oh, jeez.
Like
That's nasty.
everyone, yeah, it's pretty good. Um, and look, in terms of fortifications, there's nothing crazy about it. They just create their fortifications with rock as and metal as a substrate, and then they just clad it with ice, and that's just their fort. Like, there's nothing crazy about it. It's very built up, and that's it for the military.
Man, I can try, but I probably cannot think of something that cool. Seriously, because Nahar,
Pun
they
intended.
have they have a pretty good military system, but it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, what am I gonna do here? I don't really know.
Be right back.
So
Take care of something.
The way you designed those logos is really cool, dude.
I
I
know
think- thank you.
your artisticness is just. I seriously envy it. Seriously.
The artistry.
Alrighty, well, we're gonna wrap that up for Eric, and we're gonna move on to Kingdom. So, Kingdom, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've developed.
Oh my goodness. Well, a whole city for a starter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure what to say about it.
Alrighty, well, let's get started on. Let's see, what's the gist of your city? What's it about?
Gist of my city.
Mm-hmm.
It's run by the only royal family in Idalos. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Pretty peaceful place for the moment. It's just humans and what are the seafaring race called again?
The Mer people.
No.
Oh, wait.
You're
Oh, the Bakai. The Bakai. I was
Bakai,
thinking
that's right.
That's how you pronounce
Yeah.
it?
The Bakai,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're sort of the majority race.
I would hope so, man. Some of them are just like, whew, hello. All right. So, do you have anything planned for Renmir and on Andreas, I think it's pronounced? Anything exciting coming up in the future? War, pain, death.
Yeah, planning a few alliances. It just depends what cities are willing to go into one. But
Well, what are you hoping for when it comes to that city?
total domination. No.
All the
Destruction.
alliances.
The wars.
Uh-huh.
Gotta tip it like Dawson.
Anything that noble houses, which sort of run everything. They've almost got more power than the king. The king is just the yes or no man, and they sort of bring the troubles to him and advise him on what's good for the kingdom. And as the king is so young at the moment, I think he's 15, he's very
I'll bet he's useful.
impressionable. So basically,
yeah,
it's a
that's
couple
right.
of old guys running the kingdom at the moment, and
Sound
they all
like the
come
next
from
Joffrey. Go.
different areas. So good for farming would be Andorras itself, Benora, and Warwick, because they're all in the south, which is a lot sunnier. But when you get above the burning mountains, you've got Burhan, which is like our dense forest area. That's the middle of the map. Chrome is cold. Gorwin is cold, and Endor is freezing. So those aren't very good for farming. But Endor is where they get all their metals from, and their mining. They've got really deep cave systems there. And there's also a cave system that runs from Gorwin to Venora, which somewhere in between. No one knows. It'll be a bit of a puzzle, but there's a labyrinth down there, and I've got lots of plans for that. So
Ooh, wow.
exciting RP.
No,
Oh,
no,
yes, that's gonna be fun.
right? Okay.
What happened to Jacob?
What? Oh, he's
Loading.
there. Loading, yeah.
Okay.
Loading, I guess. All right, so some of the other things too that I thought were interesting is that along with the cyclical expenses, um, that Renmere also charges a tax of its own, right?
Yeah, a 4% tax for anyone who has a job, and everyone should have a job in Renmere. So that all goes to the king, and he sort of says it's for roads and making medicine cheaper and doctors and things like that. But doctors in Renmere actually earn 2 gen more than anywhere else in the world. So if they work in Andorus, yeah.
But if they
Sweet.
work in like Warwick or something, they only get 10.
No, it's like this specific location they have to work in. That's instead of some cities have that experimentation
Ooh.
laboratories and stuff. I think Vinden does or something like that. And
Vigan, yeah.
I went
Maybe.
with filling
Ragros
in
does it too,
doctors more
but
than that. Yeah.
Oh goodness. Yeah. Everybody loves those experimentations, the laboratories. Definitely want to find yourself in there for sure.
oh yeah, that sounds like a freaking great place to party.
All right, and then one more thing I kind of want to talk about before we move on, are the shields. Now, the shields, so they represent the different noble houses.
Well, every region has its own, I don't know, emblem, I guess.
Okay.
The shield. So Andorus is the Jacodon, which is like a dragon, and of course the people of Andorus believe that the island was originally a giant dragon that Vern Andorus sort of shot down from the sky and it became the land. Warwick is the lion because he was a really fierce man. He was sort of Vern's right hand man and did all the bad stuff and slayed the dragons and the giants and things like that.
Which is
And
why all
then
the cool kids are
Venora
in Warwick.
was Andros's wife, and she is from the Garden region, which is signified by the rose. And then there's Burhan, and they're sort of the seafaring people. They make all the boats and things like that. They are in charge of replanting the forest and supplying the cities of wood. So they've got the compass. The scales is Gawain. He was the knowledgeable one. He was their guide and sort of came up with all the laws and wrote all the history down for people to remember. And the whole religion is sort of based around him. And then the bear is Endor because they're like really powerful, hardy people. They live in the cold and down under the
Have to deal with
in
all
the
them
tunnels and
Ewoks.
things. And then Chrome is the wolf. I don't really know why I picked that. I just needed a wolf in there.
I really like all the shields. I mean, the coat of arms, they look very good.
Awesome.
They look very good. So, all right, well, cool. And is there anything else that you want to talk about, Kingdom?
No,
Before
I
we
think
move
that's
on
it
to
for
other
me.
things?
Let someone else
Alright.
have a go.
Alrighty. Well, I think I haven't talked on a live chat in a while, so I think I'll go ahead and take a swing at it. Yeah, right. So, one of the things that have kind of been coming up, reoccurring discussion, are the Mortalborns, and I haven't really had a chance to really get too into them as far as what players can do with them or what to expect from them. But I kind of just wanted to go over some information that has been on the site, just to give some clarity about like who they are exactly. So, going into it, the Mortalborns are half human, half immortal. They are conceived from a immortal parent, either one. So we have a couple of NPC Mortalborns, available to players. Now, I do want to let everybody know that Mortalborns are a playable race, but you need experience before you can actively roleplay one.
Yeah.
So you can't just, if you're new to the site, unfortunately, you can't play one until you've been here for about a season or two. But once you have a little bit of experience under your belt with what goes on in the world, you can definitely apply at the narrator support forum and see if you can roleplay Mortalborn. But some of the things about them are they aren't indestructible. They aren't as indestructible as the immortals are. They have to decide whether or not they want to use their gifts. If they don't use their gifts, they will end up living indefinitely. However, they are prone to sickness and injury, like how a human is. However, if they decide to use their abilities, then they will die faster. Most of the mortalborn who are able to gift marks, gift blessings and curses, are usually either very old or very close to death because they have learned how to do that from using their abilities. And that's the thing when it comes to mortalborns. They actually have to learn how to use their gifts to be able to do anything for anyone as far as giving them a mark of power or something. So that's what happens when it comes to mortalborns. They're weak. They're as weak as a human. And I think that's what makes them very cool in a sense. They're basically like, I like to think of them as kind of my second child.
The first would be standing trial as a whole.
No, actually, the first would be the Aukari. I love those. I love those people. They're like I love all the races that everybody's developed, but something about the Aukari just
They're so tragic.
it just it hits home.
That's why I made a character.
Heads.
Yeah.
That's why I made
They
a
go
character
boop,
for them.
right?
Uh-huh. But and now that we're kind of getting onto it, I'm talking about the Mortal Warrens, and I'll go ahead and just move into the Aukari for just 1 minute, because I love to talk about them. They're my child, they're my baby, I love them, and you know how everybody loves to talk about their kids. So, but anyway, the Aukari. The reason why I love them so much is because they have an extensive amount of layers. And we've kind of delved into this a little bit throughout the other live chats, but the Aukari have room for so many layers in their personality just from what they've endured as a race. They are literally, from the day they are born, even before that, from the day they are conceived, they are literally brainwashed and trained into becoming these soldiers for Faldrin, which those of you who don't know, Faldrin is the immortal of fire. So the reason why they do that is because originally it started off as a way to for the Aukari to live longer, because without Faldrin's blessing, they have no chance at staying alive past 35, 40 years old. They will literally become so hot that they will erupt into flames and burn themselves into ash. So when the race was first created, the reason why they succumbed to his demands and his control is because they needed his blessing to live longer. And that's what it's all about with them. It's survival. Survival has become their basic instinct. It has become what they have to do on a daily basis. So, just with that, it leaves characters who play Akaris open to a lot of different things, different changes to the character. They might turn into psychopaths. They might break away from the brainwashing and realize that, maybe some of the decisions that they thought were right weren't actually right at all. And so that's what I really love about some kind of characters, is that these serious changes could happen in an individual, and it's so interesting to see that occur throughout the year, happen throughout the year. So that's why I love them.
If I may say, the Akari society, to me, it looks like a dictatorship. Like their society is like
Where are you going?
totalitarian. It's this like the brainwashing. They're controlled by
What?
fear. And yeah, as you were saying, with the
You need
characters,
to stay here.
it's
Okay.
a lot of the characters will start off being this
I can survive.
brainwashed and all this, but then it helps sort of
Hey! Like,
characters sort of the people who are controlling these characters, the role players, to use that to sort of kickstart their plot and
Right.
the development of their character. And I think I think it's just a really good opportunity for characters when they're starting their aukari to create this plot. You know, it just helps. I think.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I'm the one who created the Akari race. However, Whisper, one of our other narrators, she actually took over developing the Akari city, and the Akari aren't anywhere that they go in the world of Idalos. They will be killed if they are found. If somebody finds out that they are who they are.
almost
So-
anywhere. There's a few places that don't do it right, that are a bit more tolerant.
Very rarely will you
That
find a
is true.
place that's
Isn't it really
tolerant.
obvious that they're Akari because they
There's
have
a
red?
couple in Renmere.
Well, the only thing that makes it
As
obvious,
well.
the only thing that makes it obvious that they're an Akari is if somebody cuts them open, because if they get cut, literally their blood will be boiling from the wound. So so that's what makes it obvious that they're an Akari. The other thing is if you say like if you sprinkle like some water on their skin and it starts steaming off of them, yeah. Because they feel feverish. You know, if you touch them, they're not gonna like burn you
But they're gonna
unless
be
they're
hotter.
unless they're on fire. But yeah,
Do they drink water?
yeah, they do. They do drink water, but it's
Maybe it just
funny
hurts.
because yeah, well. You know, it's funny because I never really thought about that, but they would drink water. I wouldn't think that it would hurt them. The reason why water would hurt them is in large quantities if they're literally immersed in what's supposed to be room temperature water. Because if you think about it, room temperature water to them is going to probably feel really cold.
Room temperature water to me would be really cold.
Yeah. Well, to
60
them,
degree-
since
63
they're hotter.
degrees is really cold water.
Well, I wouldn't think that's room temperature. Room temperature is like 72 degrees to me. But
83.
anyway, well, you kind of get my point, you know. So it's going to be super cold to them, and if they have to be immersed in it, especially while they're on fire, that's going to be really freaking painful.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as drinking it though, you know, since it is in small quantities, it's not really going to hurt them as much.
Yeah.
But
Whoa,
getting back
what the
to Zerothel, the Akari city, it's funny because Whisper is the one that did the development for that. So I can't really speak too much on that since, you know, she's the one that did it. But mainly what we're trying to set up there is that not all Akari are going to be inclined to detach themselves from their society. And see, that's something that she really wanted to emphasize too, from what I understand, is the fact that the Akari need their society to be able to survive. And those who break away from their society will be hunted down like animals and slaughtered by their own people. Because
I'm
it's
gonna have
looked
fun
at,
with that.
yeah, it's looked at as a
Treason.
treason. Yeah. So it's very interesting, the dynamics of their culture and their race, and it's very, very awesome to get involved with. So yeah. So anyway, but that I kind of digress there, but you know, I love talking about them. So yeah, does anybody want to say anything, or do you just want me to take the show away?
Well, I don't have anything to add to the Aukari.
Yeah.
Mortalborn. Well, one thing with Mortalborn though is that Mortalborn who achieve a centuries-long lifespan, who live for a while without using their powers, they're probably going to be either incredibly knowledgeable, incredibly dangerous, or both, and all without any of the powers that make the immortals so dangerous. So in a way, a mortal born who's achieved a centuries-long age could be more dangerous than some of than the immortals.
I would say mortal born who have been a while for or have been alive for a long time are basically like buckets of knowledge. Like if a player comes across mortal born who has been around since since Arc 500,
Hmm.
I totally take that threat away. Asking them so many questions like how do you do this? How do you do that? Blah blah blah. Because there's a reason why they've lasted that long.
Yeah,
What have they done?
yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially since with some of them being the way they are, like
hmm
Kielik or Labre or Valtharn, who nobody likes for a variety of reasons.
Right, right. So, and then I know we were talking about this earlier, about how a mortal born could possibly live longer. And, the only ways that really they could possibly live longer is to seek the help of other immortals, or as you said, see if they can be changed into an immortal. And
Yeah.
the only way that would ever happen would be if Delana helped out, and she hasn't been seen since the Great Shattering.
Although,
So,
if a mortal-born player pulls that one off, they will have earned it,
hell yeah. But then again,
and they need to
if
get like a medal for that.
yeah, I mean, but then again, if they pull that off, it does have to be, a modded thread. And I would
Yeah,
think if Delana came back, whenever she'd come back, if she
that's
came
going to
back,
be an event.
worldwide, yeah. So, and that's one thing that I'm excited for too, are all the events that we're going to be putting together. I've got a few written up in my docs over here. I haven't released them yet for everybody else to take a look at, but I know
Oh,
one of
please
them,
do.
yeah, one of them we're planning to see if Saroa and some of her Goonies. I don't know what I was gonna say. Some of her Goonies can go ahead and wreak some havoc in the world. So
Oh,
that's something we're looking forward to.
Cyroa and her champions, or the Cyroa Elig? Elig? How do you pronounce that dude's name?
Elig.
Elig. Cyroa, Elig, and Lycera?
Hmm.
That trio?
Terrible trio.
Yep,
And
yep.
I love
Terrible
that they're all
trio.
based out of the same city. Rakros is screwed.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that event. I don't know if you guys, I don't mind talking about it, but I don't know if you guys know about it either. We were discussing in chat one day about what would be a really fun worldwide event. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have an Immortal of Illusions, is so that this could take place worldwide across all the cities. And what the event will consist of is Saroa Lycera.
Lycera.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Elig going to the different cities and basically trying to turn them to rubble. Players will have to get together and fight them, not only fight them, but figure out
How much
is,
is real?
is it what's
Mm.
real and what's not because of Elig. So it's definitely a fun event that we're putting together, and I really hope that we can go ahead and launch this before the summertime.
Oh, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, but
Although-
depending
Should be
on
able to
how
do
the
that.
players, yeah,
I've got
depending on
this.
the players.
I've got this great image of like people running around trying to put out a building on fire. It's like
Yeah.
raging and it's not putting out, and then Elig leaves, and it turns out they've just been throwing water at this perfectly fine building,
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
everything all wet.
15 people drowned for that reason today.
I mean, think about it in a more brutal way too. You see these monsters coming down the street at you, and you're trying to defend yourself, and then
you
all of a
just
sudden,
stabbed your neighbor.
yeah, the illusion cuts out,
Yeah.
and you probably stabbed your kid or something. Like,
Oh,
yeah, twisted. It's twisted. Yeah,
The way I did it
and
was
then you get
Elig.
the 7-year itch just because.
yeah.
I was saying what I made it so that Elig had spent years and years and years studying people and working out their psychology and what people fear, and Yeah, so Elig, he creates these illusions to pretty much turn people insane.
Mm-hmm.
Such a charming
So
fellow.
Such
he's
a
very
pleasant guy. I want to hang out with
He
him.
That's what I
is.
like about it.
He's great.
He's
You
right, it's
gotta get to
awesome.
know
They're
him,
homie.
you know?
Hey, you need to cuddle.
I feel like I've known him my whole life.
Awesome.
I think you are him.
What?
I love the fact that he's faceless too. He doesn't have a face.
Mm.
That's just like that's perfect. That's like the cherry on top. It's like, oh, illusions, crazy, insane, no face. What?
Face.
Oh, I figured
Face.
out who he is. He's the idolist version of Slender Man.
No, yeah.
Oh my god!
By
Oh my god! We're all gonna die.
Man, I would probably crap my pants if I saw him.
Just start
If
shitting
I
bricks.
saw him walking down a freaking dirt road at night coming at me, I'd be like, no, I'm gone. Bye."
Which one?
Oh my god, our Slenderman threads everywhere.
Oh, no.
Everyone's running around trying to get pieces of paper off trees.
Man, now everybody's going to listen to this video. They're going to be like, I'm going to do
Idea.
that.
That'd be so much fun. Oh my god.
I'd love it.
Oh, goodness.
you-
I mean,
Should I go through Elig and his sort of story a
Yeah.
little bit?
yeah,
Just
go for it.
Do it.
talk about him.
Go
so, so Elig is the immortal of illusion, mimicry, and chaos, and he was created by Piran with these amazing powers, but sort of as a kind of thing that just happened, he was left with physical disfigurements. So, where there should be a face, it's just like a void. There's like nothing there. And there's some other kind of disfigurements. One is just he just has this smell of death that kind of hangs with him. So you never really see him. He sees illusions and this bad smell. So it is a little bit. And also
Poor guy.
his skin is quite translucent. So if you actually see his real form, his skin is quite translucent, and you can actually see, his muscles and veins, and he looks quite
Juicy.
gross. So with these disfigurements, and he also, without a face, he can't actually communicate
Directly. He has to
like
get
directly
those,
as a
right?
person. He's immediately shunned from his brothers and sister, and the only way you can really communicate is through illusion and through copying people, like mimicking people, and it's just it's quite weird actually, and he basically socially is just but the person who did understand him was his father who created him, and I think his father Piran had a bit of guilt. Piran is one of the
Original
eight original beings, and so they kind of developed a kind of close bond. But after the Great Shattering, Piran died, and Elig was left practically alone, and he disappeared for like a long time. And during that disappearance, people sort of forgot about him, and he was going around pretending to be people, like mimicking them and learning about people and about what makes people tick, how to scare people, and this sort of developed in his just great ability later on to just cause utter hysteria. And people started to realize that things seemed to happen coincidentally, like allies were becoming enemies and enemies were becoming allies, and this sort of intervention that was happening in war was just causing even an extra layer of chaos. And but Siroa and Lysira, they recognized Elig as kind of being a potential ally, and they sort of saw him as like one of them. And he's sort of there's a whole kind of backstory with Siroa and Elig and the creation of the new shapeshifter race. I actually don't know. I pronounce them
I think you said Illidu?
Illudi?
They're pronounced.
Jade,
They're pronounced the
Jade,
Illidai.
Illudi.
Illidai.
So,
Yep.
Sora and Ellie kind of created the Illudi, and I think from then on they kind of became sort of like buddies, partners in crime,
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
the ICs.
See,
Yeah.
it's so easy. You know, I have to say, like Saroa, she is probably she's probably one of the you know, she's not like Faldrin, where everybody knows that he's evil and twisted and messed up and he wants to take over the world. She's like one of those kind of quiet, hey, come join my gang and let's you know, screw some crap up, you know. Let's go bust out some windows with some bats and all that. So that's you know, Saroa, I love her. She's that kind of twisted, that secret but not so secret twisted.
Sarah's
I'm
not
like a
evil.
hooligan.
She's just out to have some fun.
Right. Right.
I think because they're twisted, like these three, yes, they're allies, but I'm thinking that like they're trying to kind of control one another.
Oh, the messed up
It's-
thing?
It's a messed up bond.
Yeah.
Here's the really messed up part about it. All three of them hang out in the same city, and none of them are on the same side of the war.
Yeah, see, Saroa, you know, she's one of those individuals where if she can use you, she'll use you. To satisfy what her goals are, she'll do that. And I think the only difference is with Lysira, you know, she's actually got a kind of bond with Lysira, but I think that if worse came to worse and she needed to cut Lysira away from her, she would.
Regret it
maybe
very quickly.
maybe with a little bit of hesitation, but she would definitely burn her alive. I mean, anything. Throw her to the wolves, throw her to the humans to kill her. I mean, yeah. Same with Ellig, you know? If worse came to worse, I'm pretty sure
Oh yeah,
she would turn on
Ellig
Ellig.
just-
Ellig would
Ellie
too.
just wants to destroy the world. He just wants to see it burn,
He just wants
and
to watch the world burn.
that's it. So
I think
if yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say if Soroa and Lysira, I don't know, decide to be good or something, Ellie would just be like,
Nope.
"See you later, see you later."
YOLO.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's something Cyroa's likely to do.
Highly unlikely.
Lysira is... I really gotta do that vlog on her at some point.
Yeah, Saroa, I think the only person that really could kind of tame her is Xanac. And Xanac is twisted in his own kind of way, but Xanac is, he's twisted because of an ox.
Because Anox is a dick.
Yeah, you know, I didn't really want to go too in depth with what exactly he did to Xanac, but he basically used Xanac to do a lot of bad things physically and sexually. Cough, cough.
Well,
Yeah, so,
charming fellow he was.
you know, so I didn't want to go too in depth to that, but Xanac and Saroa both kind of have domains that are around that sexual nature, and so they kind of both have like this mutual bond of like twistedness and wrong stuff. So not gonna go too in depth to that. Yeah, but so I think the only person that could really kind of tame Saroa from doing anything too crazy and dark and, you know, let's destroy everything is Xanac. And Xanac, thankfully, is, I think he's on the side of the mortals. Hold on, I need to double check that. Either he was neutral or...
He's neutral.
Is he? Oh, he is neutral. I stand corrected. He's neutral. But he does like humans. He likes messing around
likes
with
the
them,
humans.
obviously. Yeah, so yeah, that's them. But anyway, Jake, you haven't said anything. I'll chat. Do you want to say something before we have to go in 7 minutes?
Jake.
Jacob,
Jake.
do you want to say something before we have to go in 7 minutes?
Well, as of late, I've not had significant development that I've been working on, but I have some things planned in the in the tunnel over here, in the little brain over here, trying to work on some stuff. I'm probably gonna have a new immortal in the works pretty soon. My first one. My first one personally. And then along with that, Artifice is gonna get done. It has to. So I mean, I can talk about the Kiora if you guys want.
I mean, sure, yeah, go for it.
Because you guys got into this giant race kind of thing, and I'm just like, I have to. So the Kiora are craftspeople for the most part. They're very business oriented. They're very intelligent people, and unlike what they look like, because they're kind of green, they look like plants. People kind of would seem to underestimate them, except for in this particular situation where they're really good at doing what they do.
Why am I suddenly picturing them as Namekians?
Yeah, they kind of seem like Namekians, except they have the texturization of skin, and they don't have the antenna, and they don't shoot laser beams out of their faces. So the Kiora are pretty celebrated as a people. Unlike my other race, the Mer, I kind of liked having that contradiction there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kiora.
So they're very celebrated. They live for a long time. So you'll see some Kiora that are almost the age of certain Mortalborn. They're like 200 arcs, 250. I mean, they don't really die. They do, but they're very, very long-lived.
Probably a couple of them around Athelm's age.
Yeah. So you would see, as you guys were mentioning earlier, like as with the Mortalborn, some Kiora are just so good at what they do that their artistry is just they earn ridiculous amounts of money, but on top of that, they don't care about that. It's the passion. That's the only time you'll see someone so business oriented, so passionate about something. You know what I mean? So you'll see them. These people won't even eat for like a week, 2 weeks to finish what they do, and they're physically capable of surviving that.
Dang.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're photosynthetic people. They go as long as they're in the sun. If they're working in the daylight, they're good. They just have to. They absorb water through their hands and feet. They can also drink it, but they usually don't because it's kind of stupid.
Basically, they can survive indefinitely as long as they work in a sunny room and stand in a pool.
Yeah, I mean they eat too. They eat to take in protein, so their muscles don't completely deteriorate.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the Kiora are they're very dedicated people. Their creator Mosuke didn't really. It wasn't there for them. They were kind of sad about it, but they got over it.
And then they took up with Chamadars, and he was such a bad
Chamadars
influence.
just met up with them. He taught them how to do stuff, and he told them to build this giant city that I still need to work on.
Nishaki.
Nishaki. Yeah.
That's some pretty good stuff going
There's a history on that there's a history about that place. There's a lot of stuff that we gotta work on for that, but it'll get done.
All right, well, awesome. Man, I wish we could talk longer, but it's getting to the hour mark, and unfortunately, these are only an hour long. So
And, it's gonna take me even with an hour, it's gonna take me like 5 to put the next video together.
yeah. So I just want to before we leave, I just want to again congratulate Shards on his March Legend of the Month. He has contributed a lot to the site as far as finishing off the races. We had a lot of races that didn't have any information on them, and he went ahead and took care of them, edited them, finished it, and so on and so forth. So I just want to congratulate him again on that.
Thank you.
And we will hopefully be having another live chat video next month. Hopefully we won't skip next month.
Or
But,
5 months after, like we did last time.
Right. But we will definitely keep you guys updated. And if you have any questions that you want to ask for the next video log, just go ahead and follow the link that we will provide in the sidebar. And definitely stay updated with us and keep role-playing and keep bringing your friends to the site and role-play with you. All right.
Have all the fun.
Yep. So that's it. So I'll see you guys next time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Okay, where's the off button? There it is.